I don't know why, with the LinkedIn. So give me a second. These things happen when you have live things. We're going to post it afterwards then. So yeah, that's funny. Well, we are going live through the web page and YouTube. So, hey everybody. New episode of SITS, the English-speaking podcast of Entrepreneur Media. Today, we are going to speak about how we're going to make AI safer, so to speak. And that's why we have two special guests. We have the co-founders of Humanitech.ai, which are Tomaz, Levak, and Rynning. We are going now with the intro, and then we start chatting with them. Hey, here we are, new episode of SITS, the English-speaking podcast of Entrepreneur Media. We are with Rynning and with Tomaz Levak, who have connected to our platform to speak about how we can make AI safer. Guys, thank you for connecting. How are you?
Very good. Thanks for being on. Thanks for inviting us.
Yeah, pleasure. So let's start from the beginning, as somebody said. What is Humanitech? What it is, how does it work? Please, if you can enlighten us.
Yes. Well, first again, thank you for having us on your show. It's a privilege and an honor. What is Humanitech? It's a good question. So we are a Swiss AI-based company that is building human-centric, decentralized tools that combat harmful or fake content online. So there's a lot to unpack there, of course, but we are uniquely focused on trust and safety, on AI harm reduction. And I guess we'll get into some of the solutions and products that entails.
Okay. And when did Humanitech started, and what it led to the creation of Humanitech?
Yeah, let me maybe set that out and take a step back, because Tomaz and I are co-founders of Humanitech. We've been working together for, I think, 7-8 years now, and we'll give you a little bit of that background, how we got together. But the reason we founded Humanitech, I think it is about 5-6 months ago, so it's a quite new company, is that we are obviously facing this explosion of AI generated content now. And we maybe first of all say that we are, as entrepreneurs and I guess tech investors and tech entrepreneurs, we're very optimistic on the role of technology and what tech has done for modern society. So we, at the outset, we're technology optimists, right? And we can talk about all the good things that tech have done. But we are quite concerned about this AI generated content explosion, because there's a lot of harmful content out there, as we all know, right? Be it fake news, deep fakes, etc. And why exactly now is something that Tomaz and I have coined the flippening. I don't know if you know what the flippening is. I mean, there are a few different interpretations of it, and I'm not referring to Ethereum market cap outtaking or outcompeting Bitcoin, but the fact that more content on the internet now is created by bots and machines than humans, and that's a problem.
Whoa, that's connected with this crazy theory that everything that is being run in the internet is made by bots, but that's another question.
Yeah, but I think it's the fundamental sort of macro issue that we're targeting, right? Is the trust issue in society and in between humans, right? Can we trust each other? Can we trust what we read in the news? Can we trust what we scroll on our mobiles and on our web browsers? And we are at a point now where the deepfakes and the fake news are so good that it's really, really, really hard to tell, right? And humans can't tell the difference very often. So we need machines that are human aligned to fight content that are created, well, both by machines, but also by humans. I mean, there are some really, really dark corners on the internet that we're trying to fight.
You said something very interesting about especially this trust gap. And Humanitech was born, as you say, with the idea of making AI more trustworthy. So then what is this specific moment maybe that made you say this has to change and we are going to fix it?
Yeah, well, the moment has already come and passed, to be more specific. So we think we have had forced contact with AI already. And the first contact wasn't through humanoids and Terminators. It was through the algorithm of social media, right? And the algorithms of social media was set so that they would detect what kept people scrolling on their mobile phones. And it turned out that the algorithms learned intuitively that what kept people scrolling is outrage, hate speech, and an eternal echo chamber of confirmation bias. Okay. So the bots are feeding the social media algorithms with fake news and outrage and hate speech to keep your attention. It's a race for your dopamine rush, for your doom scrolling. And this has changed conversation. It has changed the media industry. It has changed our tech companies and conversations at the dinner table. It changes. It's changed modern society, the way we communicate, right? And this is a problem when you cannot know what is real, what is fake, what is fact, what is not. Then the basis for conversation and debate erodes, and we become very polarized as nations or as communities. And so the first contact with AI has already happened, and we lost as a society. It wasn't intentional, but we sleepwalked into an era of doom scrolling based on hate speech and outrage. Now we're in the second contact, which is much more dangerous, where not only do we have the deepfakes and the fake news, but we also have a race for intimacy, where people start to interact with machines online, either as a companion, as a friend, as a therapist, as an agent. And we don't know what will happen to society or families or interpersonal relationships when we talk more to machines than when we talk to humans. So we're not saying that it's all bad, but there are some reasons to stop and think about how do we put in human incentives and human alignment with the machines. For example, you should know. I think you would want to know when you talk to a human and when you talk to a machine. But now it's getting so difficult to know who's who.
Especially there are some bots when you are speaking with some services that it acts like a human and you catch it because you ask several things. And there is one moment that it crashed, but that crash moment is being day by day, little by little.
Yeah, and better. It gets better and better. I think Tomaz and I normally say this is the moment in time when AI is at its stupidest. AI will never be more stupid than it is now, right? And it's going so fast. It's going to get better and better and smarter and harder to detect what is real and what is not, what is human, what's a machine. And of course, that's going to do something about us. We don't really know what yet, but we need to put in applications, incentives, alignment so that at least we know what is what.
And one question, you have this, in Humanitech, you have this service or product, which is the Humanitek Guardian agent. How does it work? How you are trying to add this into like the internet or the services to corporations or other startups or whatever?
Yeah, like the Umanitek Guardian is actually the first product Humanitech put out as the embodiment of what Chris was speaking about before, right? So it crunches together these intuitions around what we feel the products of the future will look like. And we wanted to start somewhere where the impact is very tangible. So Umanitek Guardian is an AI agent, as it says in the name. And just to kind of align on the plentitude of definitions that are out there, an agent from Umanitek's perspective is it's a system that can semi-autonomously or autonomously perform certain tasks using data assets and tools to reach an objective. And in the case of Guardian agent, we've set that objective or that aim, or the raison d'etre of the agent to be is to limit or remove harmful content online. Now, the way it is doing, it's actually using certain technology components that were developed over the course of the last decade or so. One of the most important ones being the Origin Trail's decentralized knowledge graph, which, as we've touched upon a little bit before this interview, it's this very powerful way of handling data that makes it AI ready. But the important point is that it goes after a friction that we saw in the market that's very real, and that is that companies do not exchange relevant data to fight harm. And in the age of AI, that means that everyone will need to that wants to fight those harms on their own, but that will not be enough. Because let's say we take a few examples. YouTube captures some of the harmful content. You will have TikTok capture some of the harmful content and behavior. Reddit does the same. ByteDance does the same, but they do not exchange data between each other. And that's because there's friction. No one wants to share everything with the other platforms, which could even be competitors, right? And it makes sense. So here enters Umanitek. With the decentralized knowledge graph, we can enable everyone to keep control and ownership of their data, but at the same time have an AI agent that on the need-to-know basis can query others and receive answers if they have seen a piece of content to be safe, unsafe, or potentially illegal. So let's imagine that you come now to YouTube and you want to upload a certain piece of content. Well, if YouTube has Umanitek Guardian implemented, then they are able to firstly encrypt that piece of content in a way that they do not have to share the exact file, but only deal with encrypted values. So even if it's intercepted, no one knows really what they're querying about. And the question goes to other participants in the network to ask in an encrypted way, hey, have you seen this piece of content? Have you seen this piece of content? Have you seen this piece of content? And they can ask other platform, an NGO, a law enforcement agency, or any fourth, fifth, or sixth institution. And they will receive response, hey, I've seen it, and I've labeled it illegal with 90% likeness to what you have you're seeing trying to get uploaded on your platform. So when you have that signal as YouTube that, I don't know, a law enforcement have already seen this as a part of their procedure, obviously you're not going to allow it to get uploaded onto your platform. So in this way, what we're creating is like this digital collective immune system, and that is different. We're not seeing that in the let's say current approach to protecting our digital sovereignties. It's always just single organization view with a lot of frictions to exchanging these signals across different organizations, let alone different countries, let alone different types of organizations. And Umanitek is going straight after that. So that's what Guardian is intended to. You can implement it within your infrastructure. So each participant gets their own agent, and that agent acts with the objective to protect yourself and others as well.
And this agent can be used for any kind of industry. I mean, it can be used for media, can be used for mining, can be used for retail, etc., etc.
Correct. So we're definitely looking at a piece of technology that has a multitude of possible implementations or multitude of possible use cases. So the one that I was talking about just now around content, we're talking about potentially harmful content like CSAM, which stands for child sexual abuse material. And here we're really proud of having a partnership formed with the International Center for Missing and Exploited Children, where we are working with them to enable more and more such content not to see the light of day, and also for all the bad guys, quote unquote, to be able to get prosecuted with the utmost efficiency supported by the Guardian agent. But like you've highlighted a little bit already, the same approach, I can also ensure that non-consensual material does not appear where it shouldn't. Say that you're a young adult who has shared a piece of photographic images with your romantic connection, and now you no longer are in that connection, but you feel vulnerable because you believe that that image could surface on the internet against your will. That's one of the upcoming capabilities for Umanitek Guardian, is going to allow you to protect yourself against such wrongdoers by adding in an encrypted way your image, your video to this digital collective immune system, and sending the signal to everyone else that you do not allow for your image to be uploaded to certain platforms. So that's just another use case, and then plenty other opens up after we go that, because it follows the same logic, and all of them really aimed at the highest levels of impact that we can achieve in the shortest period of time.
Very, very interesting. I want to remind the people that are connected to our interview, that are watching or maybe listening to this conversation, that we are in a new episode of Seeds, the English-speaking podcast of EntrepreNerd Media. We're speaking with Rynning and Tomaz Levak, which are the co-founders of Humanitech.ai, a Swiss-based company that is trying to make AI safer, more trustworthy. So back to the conversation. One thing that it's breaking my mind right now is that in the go-to-market that you have been doing with this AI agent, which are the first early adopters that you have?
Yeah, we partnered with the International Center for Missing and Exploited Children, ICMEC, which is an NGO that works with obviously preventing children images, children trafficking. And another example is one of the largest tech companies in the world called ALO. And ALO is one of the is a holding company that has a lot of different websites, including adult websites. Pornhub is one of the websites that ALO owns, and we have a partnership with them where they are putting hashes or their MD5 files available on the Umanitek Guardian node network, so that other partners or other participants on the network can query what, for example, content has ALO seen and approved. And an example of a little bit along the lines of what Tomaz was mentioning already, to give you an example how that node from, for example, ALO could help a law enforcement agent. If you imagine that you're a law officer anywhere in the world, you confiscate a laptop. And on the laptop, you will have, let's say, 2 terabytes of files and folders and videos. Now, someone has to sit and watch through all those videos. It's very traumatic. And it takes a very long time. It takes a lot of manpower to do. Instead of sitting and looking through all the videos, you can upload essentially the hard disk, convert it via the Umanitek Guardian, and you can query digital fingerprints of what you have on the hard disk versus, for example, what ALO already has seen and approved. And maybe in this example, you can see within seconds that 60% of the material on the hard disk are green flagged and approved, but 40% might be questionable or actually may be flagged as illicit CSAM material. Now you know immediately what you have confiscated. You can send out takedown notices. You can go forward with prosecution of the owner of the laptop. And of course, you can provide relief to the victim much, much, much faster. So it's both a cost efficiency here and a massive harm reduction for the people and the victims involved. So those are two examples where we work in a, I would say, a public-private partnership with ICMEC on one side, as an NGO, as an organization working for fighting the good fight, which we do as well, and then working with industry to clean up the internet from unsafe material.
Speaking about that, do you have a projection on how much harmful AI content will decrease thanks to the agent you have developed?
Well, that's a good...
I think like it could be quite substantial. And I'll say that is partly due to the efforts Humanitech makes, but partly due to the impact our activities create across the globe. So even last week, I was present in Geneva at the AI for Good conference, and I was able to learn about the different techniques that are implemented in isolation a lot of times to help this type of ambition to lower the harmful content online, and they are happening currently in an isolated way. And what Humanitech can do is it can bring all these existing efforts, either efforts to create directories of labeled content, or even technologies that today exist and can be powerful in addressing these challenges, and offers our agentic product to house it. So one of such examples we're currently in discussions, but it might lead to onboard one of the largest, if not the largest, databases of labeled illegal content, which spans over tens of millions of content pieces. And that is it's only the beginning. We only just literally launched it and started presenting it, started going to the market with it, and you can see the ripple effect starting to happen, where the network effects really start making sense. And while I wouldn't kind of be able to give you an estimation of the, let's say, exact numbers that we would target, conceptually, this is an orders of magnitude more powerful way of creating a filtering net for shit on the internet, pardon my French, compared to what we have today. Because this is exponential, like if you put together efforts that are happening in isolated fields and now they're all happening together, it's an exponential impact that you're able to achieve. So again, like I wouldn't target a particular number yet, but I'm happy to reconnect at some point and look at what.
No, but it's a good question, and I would say, if we can just remove one image, right, of a child or a victim, it's good, right? But we're going for massive impact here, right? Because this doesn't exist today. I don't think we really said this. Like this immune system on detecting and preventing and removing harmful content on the internet doesn't exist today. And the main friction is that everybody values their data for good reason, right? There's privacy reasons, there's competitive reasons. Data is gold. But when it comes to harmful content or clearly fake or illegal or copyright infringement content, there's no way to share data without sharing data. So the key thing we're unlocking here, which makes us think that this is a big scale, is that we can allow in a decentralized manner. You keep your data. You don't share the data with us. You keep your data in your environment. You put a fingerprint, an encrypted fingerprint version of the data, and you allow others to check, to query, to question if this someone has labeled this illegal or copyright infringement, or does someone have the copyright of this and not given permission to upload this content, right? This doesn't exist today. And this is really what the internet needs to be safe and to be trusted and allow our younger generation to use it in a safe manner.
Talking about that, there is a sea of models that are having trouble with this hallucination, AI hallucination. How do you ensure that the outputs of your AI agents are not only secure, but also accurate?
That's a very important question. And I'll say, like, even, I'm not taking away from, with my response, I'm not trying to take away from the importance of foundational models or the advancements in innovation that models have created. I think they're so important. And we're really, as Humanitech, we like to leverage all the goodness that this AI revolution is kind of bringing forward, with new models coming up and the competition that's coming, between these different, like the Hunger Games of the models that we're seeing right now. One pushes ahead, the other one catches up, so on and so forth. However, you do mention a very important point, and that is that the transformer models themselves are not, and their generations are not a deterministic output. So that's why Humanitech's approach is that we are creating this trusted data foundation underneath, and a very particular one at that, like Chris was saying, one that is co-created by multitude of organizations. And what we use the models for is to have a very smart, powerful, reasoning-based interaction with this data. That means that our system outputs always have provenance. We always have provenance of all the knowledge assets that were used to produce the final output. And they always come equipped with verifiability proof, so we can make the agent actually can make sure automatically that the data we're taking in hasn't been tampered with. We have the ownership proofs, we know where it came from, and we know how the response was crafted. In this way, we can create agents that have minimized the potential for hallucinations, because the guardrails are the data that we give them access to. So in a way, if you're familiar with the retrieval augmented generation type of choreography, this is a very advanced implementation of that in a multi-shot way. Okay.
And starting our last part of this interview, and thank you again for connecting. What's next for Humanitech? What are the next steps? What you are looking for, say, for this year and next year?
Yeah, Tomaz, I think you can talk a little bit about we both have a B2B model, which we've covered now with the public-private partnership, for example, with ICMEC, with ALO, but we are also just about to launch something for consumers. Tomaz, maybe you can tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, it's while it's very important to protect we can capture a lot of what's happening, obviously, by connecting with business to business types of relations. The big thing is, how can we also allow for individuals to be protected in the very same way? And this is going back to some of the things I mentioned before. This is where we focus on how can we bring this technology to individuals so that they can protect their image, their likeness against harmful uses. Those harmful uses can be very broad in how they're done. It could be a online bullying thing. It could be a deep fake that creates you financial harm, or it could be someone trying to produce a piece of explicit material using your likeness. So all of a lot of different ways of how your image can get manipulated without your consent and published online is something that we're looking to prevent with our products that are in the pipeline coming out in the very near future. So we would warmly invite everyone to, especially for this close proximity roadmap, to join us and follow us on the different social media, or subscribe to the newsletter on our website, so that you can keep track and also be in the first group of users to test and contribute to the success of these types of technologies that Humanitech is going to be releasing. But you'll definitely hear about this one once we release it.
Do you have like a time frame for these new releases?
Well, I would wish it's yesterday, like I'm really, really excited to have this out as soon as possible, because it's such a important piece of technology to exist in the world. But we're definitely not looking at next year or next quarter for something like that. It's definitely something we want to have in a very fast pace. If you look at Humanitech's trajectory, even until now, we've launched the company this year, and already in May had the first product release. So we're looking to keep that same cadence with updates and new releases coming out, and only speed it up as we move forward. So definitely next weeks or yeah. It's
I guess to add to that a little bit, the way we think about things is like the AI revolution is so fast, right? So we have to move fast and break things to follow the Silicon Valley jargon. And we're leveraging upon Origin Trail, the distributed knowledge graph that has been developed for, I think, 8 or 9 generations now. So we're launching on a robust technology with new products on top. So our go-to market, our launch cycles are very, very short and not dependent on very long technology development cycles. So we think that the world will obviously be agentic. You will have an agent working for you with homework, with education, with financial investments, travel, and the segment, of course, we're targeting at that you will have a trust and safety agent working for you. Either you are an individual, you're a family, you're an organization, you're a content owner. And of course, that's very broad. That's across the internet, but it could also be a trust and safety agent for your healthcare records, your financial profile, right? So there are verticals here as well, which we're looking to partner within and develop new products for.
Very, very interesting. And thank you so much for sharing with us with EntrepreNerd Media all about Humanitech. Because we were speaking about to be maybe one of the first companies or persons that are related to Humanitech and using the AI agent. Can you please say to our listeners, to our viewers, where they can find you, website, social media account, etc.?
Of course, yeah. So Humanitech is open for business. If the nodes are getting integrated, they're getting set up. When I say the nodes, so if you are an organization that either needs access to signal or has signal that can be provided to the network, Humanitech.ai is the website. And on the website, you can contact us, get in touch, and we will make sure that you get onboarded in a fast pace, and we can together start fighting the good fight. It's a global village approach that's necessary to make this happen. So all types of stakeholders are relevant for this mission. Private sector, public sector, NGOs, civil society. It takes all of us to pull together to build up this immune system, and we can have a very safe AI future.
Yeah, and just to add to that, it's really, fight the good fight. I think that's our tagline, right? And that's why it's so, we're so appreciative to come on this podcast, because it helps us spread the message, the awareness. And, like Tomaz said, it takes a village. If we're going to clean up the internet, it's not a country or a company assignment, right? We all have to pitch in to this now. And it's moving so fast that we don't want to get to 2026 or 27 thinking hoping we did more in 2025, right? So raising the awareness of this is very important. So thank you for that. We're also looking for talent. We're also recruiting, and not only partners, but if you want to join the good fight and join our team, please get in touch with us via our social media profiles or via Humanitech.ai.
That's very interesting. Which type of profiles are you looking for?
Oh, it's probably A, B, C, and if the D is all of the above, that's going to be the right. So it's about having the right. There's the we're Chris like to said that it's Humanitech is more of a pirate ship than a navy boat.
Yeah.
So the precondition is having the right type of mentality of moving fast and being very, very adaptive to the world that's around us. And of course, the relevant talent expertise pertains to either the world of AI, the world of tech platforms, the world of data is something that's very appreciated. But yeah, if you have the right pitch to make to Humanitech that you think that you could be consequential addition to our team, we're very much happy to have that discussion.
Nice. Last couple of questions. First of all, after all you are doing with Humanitech, are you seeking funding?
Not right now. We are funded from the founding shareholders. And it's important to say that we have founding shareholders, not only Tomaz and myself, but from all over the world. We've built, I would say, a cap table, a shareholder list that you will also see some of them on our website. I can mention a couple. So we have Bill Tai, which is an iconic VC investor, early stage investor in Silicon Valley, the first investor in Canva and Zoom. We have Asa Raskin as a co-founder of the business as well. Asa was the creator of The Social Dilemma, which was the 22-23 award-winning Netflix documentary that essentially...
So good.
Yeah, it's a great documentary, guys. If you haven't seen it, go and see it. So Asa is on our team and also based in San Francisco, of course, and runs the Center for Humane Technology there. We have Magnus Grimeland, which you also see here on the screen. Magnus is the founder, CEO, Antler. Antler is a very early stage venture capital firm, active, I think, on pretty much all continents now. And Magnus is with us in a personal capacity. And I'll also mention Joe Betzler-Craw here, who was a partner with an AI giant that I won't name at Y Combinator, and is also based in San Francisco. Magnus, by the way, is based in Singapore. And the point I'm trying to make here is that it takes a village. And we have people from Silicon Valley, which is, of course, the epicenter of AI, to Europe. We're a Swiss-based, neutral-based company. And we have Asia with Singapore and Magnus. So we want more people to come in to fight the good fight, also on the cap table, but not primarily to raise capital, because we have capital, we know what we're doing, but we need more partners to elevate the solutions.
Yeah, I know, but I have to ask because at the end this is a startup sort of podcast, so I had to ask. And the last question. This is something I have heard from many VCs to ask to some founders, and in this case, you are co-founders of Humanitech. So, where do you see yourself with Humanitech in 3 years' time?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the trajectories of AI companies that are after global impact in the last period, those timelines are getting shorter and shorter in terms of the path to really being present globally. And I think we're all working towards making sure that Humanitech is, with the positive impact we set out to do, is following those timelines as well. So within 3 years' time, Humanitech has to be a global company with massive impact across multiple verticals in terms of bringing safe AI and unlocking it basically for the humanity. I think it's one of the biggest arbitrage opportunities in terms of trust and safety when it comes to technology that we've seen so far, and we're going dead center towards that.
I think that's a good answer. I think sort of philosophically adding a little bit, I think it's important we don't go too deep into any application, any language model or any, but we stay in the middleware territory where we are now, where we can remain model and territory neutral, but be that middleware trust and safety data company. And that's a big space. And we should be one of the dominating companies in that middleware AI data management vertical, so to speak. So very ambitious, a big fight, a big vision, a global vision, and definitely not motivated by exits in this case. It's move fast, break things, and fight the good fight.
Love it. Love the tagline, by the way. It's like, it remembers me. I don't know, maybe you have seen it before, but do you remember Celebrity Deathmatch from MTV? Like, good night, good fight. And this is fight the good fight. Amazing. I'm sorry, my nerdiness escaped from myself. So, Chris and Tomaz, thank you so much for connecting to this episode. Thank you so much for guiding us through what Humanitech is doing. Hope to see you soon, like by connecting digitally or maybe in person. What else? Have a good fight. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having us again.
And to you guys, remember, every week we try to have new content related to new businesses, innovation, and technology from Latin America, from Europe, and the whole world. My name is Rob Villanueva. I'm the co-founder of EntrepreNerd Media, and this was a new episode of SEEDS, the English-speaking podcast of EntrepreNerd Media. See you soon.